Imagine controlling your car, not with a steering wheel, not with buttons, not even with your voice, but with your thoughts. Well, that's exactly what just shocked the entire Japanese automotive industry. Maxwell Chikumbutso, the enigmatic Zimbabwean inventor known for breaking the boundaries of physics, has reportedly unveiled a self-powered vehicle controlled by brain waves, and Japan can't believe what they're seeing. Today, we dive into a story so astonishing that even seasoned Japanese engineers and futurists are calling it the next leap beyond electric vehicles. Chikumbutso, the man behind the self-charging helicopter, generator-free engines, and fuel-less EVs, may have just introduced the first-ever car driven by brain signals and power without fuel or charging. Instead, a slim, wearable neural interface connected to the driver's head. Witnesses say the car moved forward, braked, and even turned, all through thought commands. No manual control, no pedals, no touchscreens. Japanese engineers from major automakers, Toyota, Nissan, Honda, were reportedly left speechless. One insider allegedly said, "If this technology is authentic, it's not just ahead of us, it's beyond us." Like his previous inventions, the car reportedly uses RF energy harvesting or electromagnetic regenerative power, eliminating the need for charging stations, fuel, or battery swaps. Instead of the tailpipe and lithium-ion packs, the vehicle relies on a solid-state propulsion system that conserves and cycles its own energy. Engineers in Japan couldn't explain it. That's what makes this moment historic. Japan isn't new to futuristic vehicle concepts. Self-driving taxis, hydrogen cars, and humanoid robotics are part of its identity. But a mind-controlled, self-powered car? This challenges everything. Heavy checkmark autonomous driving research. Heavy checkmark EV battery economics. Heavy checkmark urban transportation models. Heavy checkmark road safety laws. Heavy checkmark military and emergency mobility tech. Rumors suggest several research groups are already trying to secure discussions with Chikumbutso. Quietly, if this tech goes mainstream, the implications are staggering. Prohibited no charging stations. Prohibited no fuel costs. Prohibited no steering controls. Prohibited no emissions. Automobile direct brain-to-machine mobility. It could redefine accessibility for the disabled, reshape ride-sharing, and deliver military and rescue mobility without infrastructure. And once again, Africa becomes a birthplace of a technology others thought impossible. Is this the future of human transport, or a radical prototype the world will try to suppress? One thing is certain. Japan has officially been shaken, and Chikumbutso has once again forced the world to rethink what impossible means. Chikumbutso didn't just show up in Japan uninvited. Sources claim he was quietly invited by a coalition of tech investors and defense strategists after whispers of his mind mobility prototype spread through underground innovation circles. Japan, facing rising competition from China and the U.S., have been quietly searching for the next disruptive leap, not just another EV upgrade. And Chikumbutso might have arrived at the perfect time. But here's where things get even more intriguing. Multiple insiders suggest Japanese corporations expected to evaluate an early-stage concept, maybe sensors, maybe a neural control unit. What they saw instead was a fully functional vehicle. No exposed wiring, no external power source, no visible drivetrain. One witness reportedly said, "It wasn't a demonstration, it was a declaration." In a country where EV innovation is driven by charging infrastructure and solid-state batteries, the idea of a car with no charging port was unthinkable. Yet, eyewitnesses confirm, no battery swap compartment, no EV plug-in slot, no engine heat or exhaust, no sound from a motor system. The vehicle reportedly ran in silence, drawing power from a built-in RF energy harvesting system, similar to what Chikumbutso used in his earlier generators and electric aircraft projects. Japanese technicians attempted to inspect the underside with thermal lenses, but found no heat signatures normally associated with motors or inverters. That detail alone sent researchers scrambling for answers. Chinese tech analysts began tracking the story across encrypted forums. U.S. defense observers reportedly flagged the event as a potential high-priority watch topic. European automakers have raised concerns about what this could mean for their EV development timelines. What's more alarming for the industry is this. If the car truly powers itself and responds to neural commands with no physical interface, it could leapfrog 2 decades of planned global automotive evolution. No batteries, no lithium, no charging stations, no steering systems, no pedals, no emissions, no noise. Every major car brand now faces the same terrifying question. Right now, 3 mysteries dominate every conversation behind closed doors. How is the brainwave interface calibrated with no lag? Brain-machine interfaces typically suffer delays, but eyewitnesses reported instant response. What powers the vehicle's continuous energy loop? Is it RF resonance? Electromagnetic capture? Something entirely new? How did this technology escape corporate or government control? From Africa to Japan, without global patents, leaks, or suppression. If you're still with me, let me know in the comments if you want part 2. What Japan plans to do with Chikumbutso's mind-controlled EV behind the polished doors of Tokyo's tech ministries. Something unusual is happening. According to leaked whispers from industry insiders, representatives from at least 3 major Japanese automakers, believed to include Toyota, Honda, and Subaru, have already expressed interest in private talks with Chikumbutso's team. But here's the twist. It isn't just the automotive sector reaching out. Japan's Ministry of Defense is reportedly monitoring the situation closely. A vehicle that doesn't need fuel, doesn't require charging, can be controlled with thought, could change not just transport, but national security logistics, drone deployment, disaster response, and autonomous mobility. Some sources suggest Japanese officials weren't expecting a demonstration this advanced. They thought they were seeing a prototype concept, not a working, field-ready machine. If Chikumbutso partners with another nation first, Japan could lose its place entirely. They believe Japan should act fast, invest, license, or even co-develop a technology. Better to work with Chikumbutso than compete against him. This innovation could revive Japan's slipping lead in EV advancement. If they don't move, China or the UAE will. This group is unnerved. They see the technology as too disruptive and too unpredictable, a vehicle that bypasses lithium supply chains, no infrastructure needed, no dependency on fossil fuels, grids, or telecom networks. They worry it could destabilize Japan's energy, auto, and economic ecosystem overnight. Some voices are already suggesting attempts to restrict, patent block, or quietly absorb the tech before it spreads. Unofficial reports from African tech circles claim that South Korea, the UAE, India, and European Defense Group are already drafting proposals to meet with Chikumbutso or secure licensing agreements. China, meanwhile, has allegedly deployed observers to track every movement of the inventor since word of the demonstration leaked. And the U.S.? Analysts believe the Pentagon and DARPA have already begun internal assessments on how a brain-controlled, fuel-free vehicle could alter battlefield mobility, and what it would cost to own or neutralize the tech. Some even suggest leveraging international patents, trade restrictions, or security laws to slow or block the spread of the tech until Japan can catch up or absorb it. But there's one problem. Chikumbutso has never played by the rules of traditional tech politics, and history shows he doesn't bend to pressure. Japan's next steps could shape the future of mobility, and that is exactly what scares the establishment. While Japan debates containment, the rest of the world isn't waiting. Intelligence channels and tech investors from at least 5 countries are already circling, each with their own agenda. Chinese tech observers have reportedly flagged the demonstration as a Category Red disruptor. If Chikumbutso's tech bypasses batteries, hydrogen, and charging grids, China's trillion-dollar EV export strategy could be blindsided overnight. 10-cent-linked think tanks are tracking every new mention of the project. BYD and CATL analysts are quietly scrambling to assess the threat. A research delegation may be dispatched through a technology exchange front. United States-U.S. agencies on alert. In Washington, this tech isn't being viewed as a curiosity. It's being treated as a strategic anomaly. A Pentagon side group opening a file on non-conventional autonomous mobility. DARPA analysts reviewing Chikumbutso's past patents, especially those involving electromagnetic propulsion and RF harvesting. Private defense contractors asking one question: can it be militarized or reverse engineer? United Arab Emirates, the UAE's billionaire bidders. Dubai and Abu Dhabi investors, who previously backed radical tech when the West hesitated, see an opening. A Gulf-based fund is preparing a direct invitation to Chikumbutso. They're offering labs, citizenship, and unrestricted patents, not scrutiny. Their goal? Beat both Japan and China to licensing rights. India has been aggressively chasing alternative energy breakthroughs to outpace China. A mind-directed, infrastructure-free vehicle is the kind of technology that could disrupt reliance on oil imports, leapfrog EV manufacturing bottlenecks, and position India as a mobility superpower. Contacts within India's innovation ecosystem have already referred to Chikumbutso as a sovereign-scale opportunity. At least 2 Swiss-based venture groups, one South African telecom billionaire, and a Canadian advanced tech fund, are reportedly signaling interest. A powerful Silicon Valley VC group, known for backing Neurotech, has allegedly started probing Chikumbutso's previous collaborators through intermediaries. A European intelligence source claims that a private aerospace consortium, not tied to any single nation, is considering backing the technology for. And all of this is unfolding before Japan has even finalized its first official statement. Maxwell Chikumbutso hasn't issued a public statement. No interviews, no footage released, no official confirmation or denial. Multiple intelligence sources claim that foreign delegations and private envoys have already begun pursuing discreet contact with Chikumbutso, hoping to secure influence, licensing rights, or outright partnership before Japan makes its move. Here's what's unfolding beneath the surface. China's silent interest. Chinese tech observers have allegedly tracked every rumor since the Osaka demonstration. Their strategy appears simple. United Arab Emirates UAE's strategic outreach. The UAE, known for aggressively pursuing futuristic mobility through companies like EV Labs and Mubadala, reportedly sees Chikumbutso's technology as a military logistics game changer. Envoys may already be preparing offers involving research hubs, tax-free innovation zones, and diplomatic protection. United States-U.S. defense alignment. Inside classified briefings, Pentagon analysts are allegedly assessing how a fuel-free, brain-control mobility unit could transform, rather than go public. Sources suggest the U.S. could pursue technology containment, partnership, or acquisition through intermediaries in Africa or Asia. European Union Europe's research ambitions. Germany and the Netherlands are reportedly exploring the neural interface portion rather than the self-powering system. Their angle? Integration into existing autonomous vehicle platforms to avoid total disruption, with whispers of outside interest building. Japanese officials are being forced to accelerate their response. But observers say this approach could backfire. Chikumbutso has walked away from powerful interests before when cornered. A senior analyst familiar with the situation reportedly warned, if Japan tries to contain him, he'll leave the country and the tech will follow him. Just silence and movement. Some insiders claim he's been offered millions before and declined. Others say his personal mission is deployment over profit, which makes him nearly impossible to control with money or politics. Every attempt to predict his next step has failed and passed, and that unpredictability has created panic in rooms where power usually decides the pace of innovation. For all the strategies, secrecy, and scrambling, one reality is setting across the Japanese tech and political landscape. The longer they debate, the higher the chance another nation will act first. And once even a fragment of this technology is demonstrated publicly on video, in a public test, or through a leaked document, the world will demand access. The markets will shift. Investors will swarm. Regulations will lose their grip. And meanwhile, Chikumbutso is already preparing the next move. For weeks, governments, corporations, and intelligence networks try to keep the story buried. Meetings were held in boardrooms and back channels. Offers were whispered. Strategies were drafted. But fate had a different plan. It happened quietly, and then all at once. Within minutes, the clip spread across X, Telegram, Reddit, and Chinese forums. Hashtags exploded in English, Japanese, and Arabic. Attempts to remove the footage only confirmed its authenticity. Japan's silence shattered. News outlets that were once muted scrambled to publish breaking reports. Talk shows speculated. Investors panicked. Automakers called emergency meetings. Stock markets trembled at the thought of a post-charging, post-fuel world. And in the center of the global storm, Maxwell Chikumbutso unbothered, unmoved, and unowned. Japan could no longer contain the narrative. The story escaped their borders, their media, and their plans. Foreign governments openly acknowledged interest. Tech giants issued cautious statements. Think tanks went into overdrive. It responded to the driver's brain signals with zero physical controls. And it was built not in Silicon Valley, Tokyo, or Berlin, but by a man the establishment never saw coming. Governments now rush to negotiate not just for ownership, but for relevance. Chikumbutso, instead of signing an exclusive deal, reportedly made a single announcement through a private communique. The technology will belong to the world, not to one nation. Mobility should not be a privilege controlled by energy. Those words hit harder than any prototype. Japan, once determined to contain or claim the breakthrough, now faces a new reality. Adapt, collaborate, or be outrun by the very future they witnessed first. And this time, the future didn't knock. It drove in, guided by thought.